everyone, welcome back to the channel. Welcome to another Sacred Union Energy Update. So we're going to go with the flow of these updates, especially during the month of June. It feels as if energy is picking up. That's why we've been experiencing a lot more channelings, a lot more readings. It's because we're experiencing a lot more energy. And I channeled this just a couple months ago, I think back in March, that the energy throughout the season, the summer months or winter if you're in the southern hemisphere, particularly June, July, and August. So between the solstice and between the Lionsgate energy, the 8-8 Lionsgate, forward momentum picking up. And that was going to kind of feel like a snowball effect. Now, this is not anything to be afraid of. This is all positive energy. It might feel a little bit tumultuous when you look at the physical nature of things globally, collectively. Draw the energy back to yourself. Be very present with yourself. Do not give in to the outside influence. Follow your sacred path. Follow your sacred journey. That is the most important thing. So, when we're talking about our smaller collective, for those on the Sacred Union path to ascension, we're talking about really positive energy here, where there is action, where there is manifestations coming in, and it's all because of your alignment. It's all because of the work that you've been doing. And the more that you resist it, the more that you kind of put that energy off or you push that energy away. But the more you just go with the flow of it, the more you're going to be seeing all that energy doing its magic, is what I'm hearing, just really making its way towards you. Because you're creating from this present moment, you're creating from this new energetic alignment. Don't forget that. This present moment is coming from a past version of yourself, from a past creation. Your future is created from this present moment that you're in. So with that in mind, be very mindful about your energy and what you're creating going forward. So some of the experiences that we've had over the past several months, I want to say from last summer, last August, September, October, it was really about realignment, connecting back to yourself and realigning the old energy fading away, the old energy moving out of your system so that you could align to new and higher frequency. And so you might have seen a lot of destruction, quote unquote destruction, or dismantling. I like that as a better word. A lot of dismantling happening in your physical world. And that was because that physical world that you were in was created from an old version of yourself. And as you're moving into higher consciousness, you're shifting in frequency, your physical world naturally has to reflect that. And so that's what we were seeing over the past several months, this past half year, especially moving into 2022, was a lot of that change and endings so that beginnings could occur, destruction so that new creations could happen. So back in March, we had channeled that you're going to be starting to see the physical manifestations of that new beginning, the physical manifestations of that new creation. And it was going to be subtle at first, because if they give you everything all at once, you would just be, oh my gosh, is this possible? Do I deserve this? Almost like, back into that old energy again, because it would be very overwhelming to you. It's almost like, when we're receiving new light codes, new downloads, new energy, if it happened all at once, it would be really overwhelming to our system, because our systems have to get rid of the dense energy in order to welcome in the light. So it's the same kind of idea. So forward momentum, new creations, manifestation, you're going to start seeing that snowball effect of all good things coming, whether it's relationships, jobs, new projects, hobbies, career, home life, whatever this is, it's going to be something new. But it is not anything to fear. This is just you lifting into a higher frequency and your reality being a reflection of that. Okay, so that being said, yesterday, let me just pull it up here. Yesterday, I did a channeling on a Sacred Union Energy Update. It's available here on the community tab. It's also on my Instagram and my Facebook. So make sure that you're following all my social media platforms so you don't miss anything. I had taken out the Little Prince deck a couple of days ago, but I just wasn't feeling the energy of the readings. I was going through my own stuff this weekend, my own activations, my own healing cycle this weekend. So I actually ended up pulling these for a Sacred Union energy update last night. And as soon as I pulled the Eight of Pentacles, we have the Eight of Pentacles, the Knight of Pentacles, and the Four of Wands. As soon as I pulled the Eight of Pentacles, I was reminded of the actual story of the Little Prince, which this deck is based on. It's one of my favorite books. It's a children's book, but it's really for grown-ups. It's really for adults. And he even talks about it as grown-ups. The author. It's really a book that is to remind us of the innocent nature of who we truly are as adults, and that sometimes we forget. So what they were reminding me of here was a story, because it's some stories within stories here in the book, was a story of the Little Prince and his relationship with the rose. And I'm just going to read you what I had written here. I said, in the book The Little Prince, which this deck is based on, the little prince falls in love with a beautiful rose. He takes care of her, nurtures her. The rose, in her vanity and pride, takes the prince's love for granted. Heartbroken, the prince decides to leave his home, the asteroid, the planet that he resides on, and explore the universe. The rose realizes too late how foolish they've both been. She in not showing how she did truly love him, and he in how he failed to understand her. Though he encounters other roses on his travels, none are like his. Because of his love for her, the rose becomes unique, more special and precious than any other rose. And then I said, the energy of this reading reminds me of the story of the Little Prince and his love for his rose. How easy it is for love to be found and lost through miscommunication, misunderstandings, and misconceptions. After all, love grows where it is nurtured. I had channeled, I feel as if someone has been working hard to understand love, either within their own belief systems or how they viewed and experienced relationship. There's an energy of missteps here. I'm hearing, quote, I never quite knew what to do with the love that was given and shown to me. This created barriers in connection and a closing down of the heart. While there is great love and affection, that was never adequately expressed to the point where either partner could understand and receive it. So because it wasn't shown, because it wasn't expressed, because this person was really shut down in their expression, neither partner was able to really receive it or show it or receive it. And that's exactly what happened with the Little Prince and the Rose, where the Little Prince didn't believe that the Rose loved him because she wasn't, her pride and her vanity, she didn't show it, she wasn't able to express it. And thus, the Prince wasn't able to see it. The prince wasn't able to receive it. He didn't quite understand her, and that she was trying to show her love in his way. It was almost like what I'm hearing is crossed wires. And that happens all too often in relationships. So I continued, this reading feels like it's split into two groups. For some, you or your partner are focused on nurturing the bonds of love by planting new seeds, which is new actions, new behaviors, new mindsets, with an intent to express this love fully. The Knight of Pentacles here feels like the Knight of Cups, grounded emotion with tangible showing of this expression. It's not just words, but the embodiment of action that is going to renew this connection into a higher level of commitment, happiness, and celebration of love. For others, you've walked away from a situation where love wasn't fully expressed or nurtured, and now you're focused only on nurturing the bonds of love that are clearly reciprocated. You too are moving towards a new relationship full of celebration, joy, and happy love. So that being said, I wanted to continue this reading and kind of see what is going on with regards to sacred partnerships. So this is the book. I had brought it out. This is The Little Prince. Very classic character. And this is the deck. And I'm going to just kind of see what's going on with both counterparts. So on Saturday, I felt an energy of deep sadness. I was getting ready to work at the shop, And all of a sudden, I had been feeling really good, really peaceful the past couple of weeks, really just in this place of joy and love and union. Truly, it was union energy. Feeling my counterpart, but not needing him with me. Knowing that he is on his own journey of self discovery and wanting that for him, because that just means that he's, you know, on his journey of his own self-love and his own self-discovery. And that might not be the case in the physical, but at the very least, I believe that's what's happening energetically. I could feel that, and I was feeling his energy with me as far as like his higher self. And with that, there was this feeling of wholeness. There was this feeling of, even through the energy of separation or perceived separation, I didn't feel like anything was lacking, including our relationship. But on Saturday, there was this overwhelming feeling of sadness that just kind of cropped up out of nowhere. And it really felt like the masculine energy. It really felt like there was a sense of missing and being thought of. I felt like masculine energy was thinking of the feminine and missing the feminine energy. And there was this underlying energy of regret as well. And I know we've channeled that here on the channel in Sacred Union Energy updates before. It wasn't regret as in dark night of the soul. It just felt like awareness. Like there was a new level of consciousness for the masculine of how they had treated themselves and their life, and how that had even trickled out to the connection. It was an energy of, I can't believe I looked at my life like this before. I can't believe I've lived my life like this. And that comes with a higher level of consciousness. As you shift in consciousness, you look back at your life and you're like, I can't believe that I ever, allowed the struggling. I can't believe I ever allowed myself to suffer so much. I can't believe that I didn't realize my ability to create, my ability to speak up for myself, my ability to express myself. That's really this new level of awareness that the masculine has really been diving into within the self. And so there was a sense of regret. Again, not heavy, but just this sense of, because of the new awareness, I can't believe that this is how I lived for so long. This is the energy that I accepted for so long. That's what it felt like. I can't believe I accepted this for so long. Divine Feminines, I feel like you had experienced this as well, where you were like, I can't believe I accepted poor treatment. I can't believe I accepted dishonoring myself. I can't believe I accepted abandoning myself, and relationships or situations where I dishonored myself or where I abandoned myself. So both counterparts really seem to be mirroring this energy of I can't believe. And that's because you have shifted into a higher consciousness. It's because you have shifted into a new perspective. And so it's like you have this opportunity to really reflect and say, wow, I was in really distorted energy before, and I'm not going to allow myself to revert back to that. This is a real shift in consciousness, and as there's that shift in consciousness, there's going to be that shift in lifestyle. So that's your behaviors, your habits, your mindsets, your beliefs. As you shift into higher perspective and understanding, you naturally want to create a different life for yourself. You naturally want to create a different template of how you live. Living in a higher capacity, in a higher energy. So then yesterday, there was a lot of anger, a lot of anger that was coming up. And so it was like we were moving through the stages of endings, perhaps. That those stages of grief which accompany endings. And I feel like that ending was the old version of yourself. I feel like we were all closing the door on some kind of cycle. And they're reminding me that we just have come out of Mercury retrograde. Over this weekend, it was coming out of Mercury retrograde. So there was a lot of final reflections, a lot of final reviews of how we were living and what mindsets and energy we were operating in. So with that, it was more release. And I feel like that's where the anger was kind of cropping up as well. A lot of it was projection. I feel like the masculine might have been projecting onto the feminine might have been projecting onto the masculine. But that was all just for the purging. That was all just for the releasing. I feel like it was energetic. I don't feel like, I mean, you could have experienced it in your physical world, but energetically, it was more of that release, more of that, I can't believe that I accepted this. I can't believe that I accepted this for my life. I can't believe that I betrayed myself. I can't believe that I dishonored myself. I can't believe I abandoned myself in this light. I can't believe that I operated like this. It's like you're getting an upgrade to your operating system. That's what a shift in consciousness really is. And it's not just putting on band-aids or patches, as they call it in tech. You're not just putting, if things stop working, sometimes they do what's called patches, where it's like you're just kind of not fixing the underlying root, but you're just kind of putting band-aids on situations to make it continue to run. Well, here what's happening is you're upgrading your entire system. It's not just putting patches, because that doesn't work in the long run. What you're doing is you're upgrading to an entirely new system. And it's like, oh my gosh, I can't believe that I was just putting patches on things. And those patches, those band-aids were, numbing yourself out, addictions, denial, spiritual bypassing or bypassing in general. All the ego stuff that we try to comfort ourselves with so that it's easier to deal with. But at some point, you have to face it. At some point, you have to allow yourself to feel everything that's coming up, including the pain, so that you can release it, so that you can allow yourself to move through it and welcome in the love. Again, it's almost like our bodies are incredibly dense. It's like our bodies are filled with all this, what I like to call soul sludge, that just weighs us down. It's lifetimes and of generations of pain, trauma, patterns, conditioning that comes at us from all different angles. It's generational in lineage, it is past lifetimes, it is societal, it is familial, it is outside influences, it's even internal beliefs that we create for ourselves just because our mind likes to create stories. So what happens on this ascension journey is we are clearing all of that to come back to the core, to come back to the truth. And the more we allow ourselves to acknowledge it, acknowledge the emotions especially, and move through those emotions without attaching to them, the more we are getting it out of ourselves. That's why expression and communication is so important, because otherwise it's just you continue to drink your own poison. You have to get it out of yourself. You have to express it, because that's you expressing the core of who you are. And the more you get rid of all that soul sludge, the more you're coming back to the true essence of who you are, the soul self, which is that love, which is that beauty, which is that truth. Truth in the highest degree, truth of your own soul's resonance, truth of your connection to God's source. And so the more that you are releasing all the old bullshit, all the old paradigm stuff, the old templates, the old beliefs, mindsets, patterns, and just going deeper and deeper into your own connection to yourself and your own understanding. And this life is a spiral. That is what expansion and ascension is all about. It is about understanding more and more, deeper and deeper and deeper you go to your own understanding. If you think you know, there's more to know. That kind of energy. And so you're always a student and the teacher at the same time, which is a really beautiful energy, because there's always something to learn. And at the same time, you are helping to your energy, and your ascension is helping to light the path for others. We always have influences on each other. That is how connected we are. And so the more that you are clearing your energy, the more we're having an impact on others around us, on the global collective at large. And so really releasing all this energy. And so I feel like this weekend you might have experienced like this. It's a purge, but it doesn't feel like that dark, heavy purge that we've experienced in the past. It just felt like more release, but you were aware of it. And that awareness is key. That awareness is everything, because from that awareness is where you create the shift. Okay, so all of that being said, let us find out what is going on for the Divine Masculine and the Divine Feminine. I'm going to use this deck, the Little Prince deck, and what we're going to do is use the same deck for masculine and feminine. We'll just see what the energies are. Okay. Masculine, what's going on for the masculine, please? What's the current energies for the masculine? energies for the masculine. It's too many. Ace of Cups. And look at all those butterflies there, and look at the rose. It's like filling up their own cup and allowing themselves to feel love. And the more they allow themselves to feel love, the more they're allowing themselves to offer that love. I'm reminded of, again, the rose in the story of the Little Prince did not know how to express that love because of her vanity, because of her pride. She had so many thorns that was like the mask that was like pushing, it was like a wall that she had up to guard herself, even against the love that the Little Prince had for her. But she felt love for the Little Prince, and she knew that the Little Prince loved her, and it was just, like, again, crossed wires, not knowing how, for both of them, not knowing how to give and receive that love. I feel like the masculine is really going through this transformation, this metamorphosis. You have the caterpillars here, you have the butterflies here. I feel like they're really going through this metamorphosis where they once turned away from love, they're now allowing themselves to be more receptive to it. And the more receptive they are to it, the more they're able to express that love to others, including their counterpart. And I feel like they really do want to express that love to their counterpart. They've just been so guarded and in a place of fear. What I'm hearing is, if you haven't experienced love in the way that your heart has always desired love, when you meet it or when it greets you, it can be a really fearful and overwhelming experience. Because, number one, they're afraid that it's going to be taken away. Number two, they're afraid that they're not deserving of it. And number three, they're afraid that it's not actually real. And it's only because they had not experienced it at this level and in this realness before. It had always come up with conditions or expectations. This is a new level of love that they are understanding how to accept, how to appreciate, and how to really integrate within themselves. It's almost like their heart had always longed for this. Their heart had always wanted this kind of love, but once they finally came across it, it scared them because it almost felt like it was too much of a fantasy. They didn't think that it could actually be real, but it is. And that was part of their heart's desire. That was part of their heart's and soul's longing because it was real. I feel like over the course of perhaps this lifetime or past lifetimes even, maybe it was carried through from past lifetimes, they thought that it wasn't possible. A heavy energy of disappointment, being disappointed in the past. Almost like they thought that they had found it, but then it was taken away, or it wasn't real, and that's where they build up the fantasy in their mind. Almost like the fantasy is safer. And so when they actually experience this in the physical, it's like they put a wall up, because that means that they have to, if they don't have that wall up, if they allow themselves to embrace this love, it's the fear of maybe it will be taken away. Maybe it will be not real. It's a sad energy of disappointment, of being afraid of being disappointed, afraid of even being wrong. But they're starting to understand that this love is real, and this love does exist because it exists within them. And the more that they feel this within them, the more they're becoming open to it. The more they're beginning to understand it, the more they begin to understand that it was presented to them as something that was true. Okay. The Strength card. Yep. They are gaining the strength and the Star. This is exactly what I was just channeling. It's like the Star. It's like, is it just fantasy? Is it just a wish that can't ever come true because it's just something that is fantasy. Do wishes actually come true? Or how rare is it? And maybe it's not meant for me. Maybe it's so rare. Maybe it's meant for other people and it's not meant for me. But they have this desire deep in their hearts. And understand that this is the masculine energy that I'm channeling. Masculine energy is incredibly loving, incredibly sensitive. But they become very stoic, guarded, even cold, because they suppress the feminine energy within them. The more they allow themselves to feel their emotions, the more they allow themselves to open up to the true nature of themselves, which is a masculine energy. Just because they're opening up to their emotions and expression of themselves doesn't make them less of the masculine energy. In fact, it makes them more of the divine masculine energy, because the coldness, the stoicism, the guardedness is all the distortion. You're blocking a part of yourself. So they're wondering, is this just a far-off wish? Is this something that's just fantasy? Or they had wondered that. But they're starting to understand that wishes come true. That's their power. You create what it is that you want. They're beginning to understand that they have the power, they have the strength within themselves to create, to love, to courageously and fearlessly love. And the more that they courageously and fearlessly love, the more that love is going to be reflected back, including the love that had always been their heart's desire, the love that had always been in the deepest parts of their soul. Again, we're talking about the masculine energy, very loving energy, but they had blocked that off because of societal conditioning, programming, expectations of what masculine energy is. That's the template that we are rewriting. The more the masculine really feels into their heart space and allows themselves to love, the more they recognize their power as the masculine. And they do have great power. Their power comes from love. Their power comes from the feminine energy of love. Again, you have both masculine and feminine energies within you. Feminine, you too. And the more you access that feminine energy, it's like this. It's how do they put this? I read a post recently that said that if a male, in this case we're going to use the term masculine, if a masculine gives a feminine a house, she will turn it into a home. If a masculine gives a feminine, children, she will turn it into family. If a masculine gives a feminine whatever, she magnifies that energy. If a masculine gives a feminine energy love, she will magnify that energy tenfold. That's the feminine's gift. And the more they access that within themselves, the more they allow themselves to feel love, the more that love is given to their life tenfold. They're recognizing the strength in love, the strength in creation, the strength in having those dreams and having those passions and having those desires, and not just letting them be fantasy anymore. Not just living in their heads. Okay. Divine Feminines, what's going on with you? Some quick announcements as I'm shuffling. Oh, there we go. Some quick announcements as I'm shuffling. I'm going to be doing a sacred channeling over on my sister channel, Susan Dawn Ascension Connections, on healing the money wound. especially when it comes to, finances and tangible abundance. So make sure that you're checking that out as it's available, hopefully by the end of this week. I also have a new meditation out called the Consciousness Bridge. It's a guided meditation for helping you along your journey. It is a journey meditation wherein you connect with a spirit guide or an ascended master. We also have a new Patreon pick-a-pile going up this week. Remember that if you are a Patreon subscriber, then you get a discounted personal reading if you so choose a reading with me. I'm almost full for the month of June as far as booking, so do make sure that if you're interested in booking with me, that you get your booking in as soon as possible so that we can confirm. I am going to be taking a little bit of time off in July just to catch up. So make sure that if you're interested, that you reach out to me. Okay, 9 of Cups for the Divine Feminine. 3 of Wands. Divine Feminine is very self-sufficient right now. She is very much focused on her path. She's very much focused on her own journey. And she is, just like we were channeling before, she is feeling the energy of her own inner union. She is feeling the energy of walking her sacred path. Now, again, she is connecting to her masculine, but it feels really like the higher self masculine, the masculine in the 5D versus the masculine in the physical sense. Masculine in the physical sense might be displaying more of a distorted energy, and if she taps into that, then it might not be feeling good to her. So she's really tapping into the higher energy and allowing herself to just be in the energy of love. And that's really helpful for her, to be in the energy of love, to be in the energy of joy, because that's actually what's helping to guide this connection. If she were to kind of sink into heartbreak, if she were to sink into pain, if she were to just keep replaying pain patterns, then that would just, because you guys are connected energetically, number one, you're not meant to do that. Don't give your power away to anybody to create that heartbreak for you. Allow yourself to feel anything that you need to feel. Don't deny your emotions. If you're feeling heartbreak or grief, allow yourself to feel that. But at the same time, allow yourself to be in your highest energy for your life. We have been talking about that self-empowerment for eons. That is what this is all about. It is all about your own inner wholeness. And the more that you anchor in your own inner wholeness, not needing anything outside of yourself, not feeling that sense of lack, because you have everything within, and that's just reflected back to you in your relationships, in your connections, in your abundance, in your jobs, etc. However it plays out, then that's your inner union. And that's what this journey is about. That's what your ascension is about. It's about self-empowerment, self-mastery. So it doesn't mean that we don't need each other. It doesn't mean that we don't have relationships with each other. But relationships are meant to be nurtured. Relationships are meant to support us, not to be dependent on each other, but to support us, to uplift us into higher and higher levels of ourselves. And just like the story of the prince and the rose, if that's not being reciprocated, if that's not being received, if that's being pushed away, then it allows you the opportunity to go where that love is nurtured. First within yourself, to receive that love within yourself. You're not looking for love outside of yourself. You're not looking for connection outside of yourself, because your connection first and foremost is to yourself and to God's source. But that's, again, reflected in your relationships. So I feel like here the 9 of Cups and the 3 of Wands is Divine Feminine is really walking her path. And this 9 of Cups is this feeling of, it's like the 9 of Pentacles, which is a very independent energy, financially secure, really stable within herself. This feels like emotionally stable, emotionally fulfilled for herself, and really nurturing that energy for herself. The 6 of Wands. There's this feeling of, I've got this. There's this feeling of, I know that I've got this. Of course, she, might want relationships. She might want connection. I do feel like that could be coming in. But it's not going to be anything less than matching her frequency. It's not going to be anything less than matching her own wholeness. And again, when I say wholeness, it doesn't mean that, you don't turn to somebody else if you need support or if you need help. Or if you need, comfort. We are here for each other. That's the beauty of connection. But it's to recognize first and foremost that you're not lacking anything. So you're not seeking anything. You're not seeking outside of yourself. You're not, because you're not lacking. If we have connections, it's support, it's connection, it's more love. It enhances, it doesn't take away from us. All right. All right. I feel like I'm going to end the reading here. It's a short reading. It's not as in depth as I would like. I am struggling a little bit with my health right now, so I'm not feeling entirely up to par for channeling. So we're going to leave this here as it is, and I will be back with some more written channelings. So make sure you stay tuned to social media for that, as well as we will have another Sacred Union energy update as soon as I have my energy back and I'm feeling better. Um, it's been, this weekend was big, today was big, so there's just been a lot going on, and it feels good. Like, everything feels good, so I don't want you guys to worry about me. I'm doing well, but it's just been a lot, and I'm glad that I was able to get this reading out and this message out, because it felt important. Especially, I feel like if there's any takeaway here, it's the analogy of the rose and the prince. Love is meant to be nurtured, and I do believe that there is new understanding of love that is being experienced here, not just within your connection, but within the collective as well. So I think that's really beautiful. There is a new understanding of love, within the self, within your partnership, and globally. What is love? What is love meant for? And how do we nurture that? How do we take care of each other? And I think that's the real greatest. I think that's the greatest message here. All right, you guys. Let me know what you think. Let me know if you guys have read The Little Prince. I would love to chat about it, and go deeper with that, because that is one of my favorite books, favorite stories, and I just feel like there's so much with even just the story of the Rose and the Prince, that we could dive into. So comments are open. Let me know your thoughts, and before I start rambling too much, that's going to be it. I'm sending you so much love, so much light, and we'll see you next time. Bye.